This is WJLA TV Channel 7, Washington, D.C. It's 6 o'clock.
From WJLA TV, Washington, D.C.
The news continues with Renee Poussin, Wes Hodgson, Dave Sweeney, and Frank Herzog.
Now, News 7 at 6.
Good evening, everybody, on this Wednesday, February 11, 1987 news. What's up on News 7 at 6 p.m. In Scottsville, in its 74 years of publishing school legal articles, the prestigious Virginia Law Review at the Charlottesville-based University of Virginia Law School has not had a single black member. Last week, the membership of the student-run journal, the only major law review in the country never to have for the position to a black student, adopted an affirmative action plan designed to change that situation. The 52-13 vote followed 3 years of vigorous debate over why blacks have not made law review under the current system and anonymous selection and over the property given in minorities a special consideration in a system which membership is designed to be an anonymous conferred on the basis of its merit. The absence of blacks on the review hurts us, said review notes editor Paul F. Inzana, who loved the change. It is statistically that looks very bad, and a lot of us felt it was something that needs to be addressed. For the law student, winning a covenant spot in a 76-member journal is the ultimate plum, a resume enhancer that can pave the way for a prestigious judicial clerkship at a high-paying job in a major law firm. Students write and edit articles for the review published 8 times yearly. The most recent issue featured such offerings as law and literature of relation. Re-argued in Rudvega, that Pittsburgh federal regulation of free release biotechnology. When you get out of a law school and you have a law review on your resume, it opens up a lot of doors. That I said at UVA, which did not admit it. In Richmond, the Virginia Senate overwhelmingly passed legislation today that would be returned most of the state's $173 million tax windfall next year to the state's taxpayers issued yesterday. The Senate bill approved 33-5, and then only one passed 87-13 by the House of Delegates last week. The two versions of be combined into a single bill that will be sent to the Governor Gerald for the signature this month. The Senate plan denounced by Republican critics because it would be give low-income taxpayers a proportionally large share of the state's windfall revenues resulting from the changes in the federal tax law, and similar to a proposal made at the started legislature by the governor. Bailey said that the consensus bill would be produce the most significant reform in Virginia's tax laws in more than 15 years. While federal tax brackets lowered and some deduction eliminated, the District of Columbia and states such as Virginia and Maryland confirmed that income tax under the federal code could tend to reap the windfalls because their taxpayers would be automatically your adjusted gross incomes, having pushed a $422 million tax increase to the special session of the legislature last fall. List proposed that returning most of the windfall to the taxpayers, retaining $28 million to reserve that would be redistributed if the current revenue projections are correct. Maryland Governor William Donald Schaefer is trying to retain 2/3 of the state's expected $179 million surplus to fund programs for education and support. And the district mayor, Marion Berry, wants to keep all of the city's projected $25.7 million initial windfall for the city government, and half of that $300 million is expected to get over the next 5 years. Republican complaints about Virginia legislature consider on what has been discovered as Robin Hood approach to returning them the money. The bill would benefit taxpayers who would take the standard deduction about 60% of the taxpayers in the state more than it would be those within Timonize. A typical two-income family that has deductions that is in just a gross income of $47,200 would pay $25,000 to $25 a year and more in state income taxes.
Where any of the students or staff
Annapolis labor leaders who are not only opposed measure that alter workers' compensation laws in Maryland apparently bowed to the pressure from Governor William Donald Schaefer and agreed Monday to compromise legislation that would cut benefits to workers with less serious injuries. The compromise that one of the governor's key legislative issues virtually ensures that the traditionally pro-labor legislature will improve some cuts in disability benefits but less drastic reductions than Schaefer originally proposed. We're not satisfied completely with this bill, said Ed Lehman, president of Maryland AFL-CIO, admitted, I'm not satisfied with the cutbacks. But everybody knew there was going to be a reduction in benefits. It was a top priority of the governor under the agreement outlined the day before. The House Economic Matters Committee, workers that suffer less serious injuries would have received $80 a week in compensation instead of the current $122 a week, a drop of about 34%. The legislature submitted a Schaefer earlier in session proposed that such workers receive $61. Those reductions are expected to trim benefits to less injured workers, known as payments for minute partial injuries by about $11.8 million in the first year, according to a state development analyst. That figure is expected to grow to an estimated $15.2 million in annual savings for employers within 4 years. Labor representatives indicated that they agreed to the cuts because of the provisions of the legislature, included a proposal to allow the State Workers' Compensation Commission greater discretion in determining the extent to which injuries affect the ability of the employee to work a number that calls for that. DC Council Chairman David A. Clark, Democrat, said yesterday that he has appointed a former panel of former federal district government officials to review the operations of the DC Auditor's Office, but said that the move is not an attempt to remove Otis A. Straub, whose term expires next month. Clark, in a memo to council members, called the selection of a city auditor clearly the most important appointment the council makes, and I believe that the process for making it have to reflect its importance. The city auditor, who has the responsibility for reviewing a wide range of city functions and spending, is nominated by the city council chairman and confirmed by the council for a 6-year term. The mayor has no official role in the appointment. Clark has sitting and asked former General Accounting Officer Director Ellen B. Stats, the former Federal Reserve Board and member Andrew Brimmer, and former DC Auditor Matthew Watson to serve without paid and to make recommendations about the auditor's office and potential nominees. The work is expected to be completed and the nominee approved before the council goes on the recess in July. Tripp was nominated in 1981 by then Chairman Arrington Dixon, whom Clark defeated in 1982. As Tripp complained yesterday that he had talked with Clark as late as Monday evening, and I have not been able to get the courtesy of a straight answer about a reappointment. Tripp said he had been pressing Clark since at last April to give him some indication of whether he would be reappointed. Clark's memo said that the council, which he planned to release later in the week, and was distributed after media inquiries.
A Framingham pastor is accused of...
Former D.C. Board of Education member Frank Schaefer Corona, one of the city's most flamboyant public figures till his election in 1991, was charged yesterday in D.C. Superior Court grand jury indictment with the effects of funding that allegedly had been disposed of by mistaken to a checking account and controlled. The grand jury indictment did not much reveal how much Schaefer Corona is alleged to have stolen a civil suit filed in connection with the case. Accuses Schaefer Corona of misappropriation about $25,000 of the $31,000 deposit that the National Bank of Commerce was made in June 1985. In long court documents found in response to the civil suits, Schaefer Corona denied the allegations and accused bank officials of a series of actions, including a campaign against him orchestrated by Mayor Marienberry and Mossad and the Israeli Secret Service. He also said the case involved information planted by American intelligence sources that he received a $500,000 reward from the Palestine Liberation Organization. Schaefer Corona, who now lives in Mexico, said in the $31,000 in question represented in the life savings of a woman who was then his girlfriend and now his wife. He said he deposited the money in cash, but subsequently lost the deposit slip. According to the civil suit on June 12, 1985, the National Bank of Commerce mistakenly deposited $31,000 in the account of Inter-American Enterprises, a company owned by Schaefer Corona, which he had operated out of his apartment by the time the bank recognized the error of the suit claim. Schaefer Corona said.
Teenagers in one town committing suicide since the fall.
2 Montgomery County Board of Education members yesterday strongly criticized by an inaccurate proposal by School Superintendent Wilmer Scotty to improve minority achievement by auditing in individual schools and creating a special center to try to new teaching strategies. The main criticism of Cody's plan is that perceived failure to hold teachers and principals accountable when a school fails to improve minority achievement. One of the main tasks that the school board set to the Cody Waldenheimer and 4 years ago. Black community leaders also criticized the proposal, saying it was not specific for farm region enough to solve the problem of low performance by minority students, and also faulted Cody for waiting until last year to retire a coordinator of minority programs. One black activist said he gives the school system an F for failing to make sure better programs on the issue. Cody, 15, recently announced that he would not have seek his contract renewed when it was expired on July 1st, and whether it include whether the new superintendent would be required to complete Cody's programs. I would assume that this plan will be continued, but we would eliminate the new person to follow it, said School Board President Marlon Preisner. Although the school board has not previously shown the public disallocation of the Cody School Board sources said that they apparently criticized Cody's strategy for solving the perplexing problem of low scores by minority students. He defended his proposal yesterday, argued that the economy is the most important part of the new board proposal. Board member Blair Ewing said, I'm concerned that this close to the 4 years later, but then it's still not clear to me whether the individual schools are accomplishing and what the consequences are. If the schools still achieve those goals, I feel intensely over the progress we not made. Aaron said, my view was not that these ideas wrong, but they...
Oscar weekend. Ellen wants to treat you and a friend like stars.
Moscow, the Soviet Union has released 140 political prisoners in a mass pardon that may climb to nearly 300, the foreign ministry spokesman said yesterday. The pardon granted by the Special Korea, the Soviet Union's legislature body, the President of the Supreme Soviet, was for individuals convicted of Article 70 of the Soviet Constitution. Spokesman Gennady Gersmov told reporters the act makes agitation and propaganda against the Soviet regime a crime. The pardon in the largest mass release of Soviet political prisoners since 1956, when the Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev released thousands were been in prison during the year of Joseph Stalin. All the original decree pardon the prisoners was passed more than a week ago. Today's foreign ministry in a Gateway reported. And in short, the dispatch carried by an official news agency tests where it's the first mention in the mass pardon in the Soviet media. The foreign ministry spokesman declined to post the full list of those pardoned, but they say that it wouldn't respond to reporters' inquiries about the individual cases. He also declined to reveal how many Soviets are in prison under Article 70. Western analysts said that the new willingness to be set free the Soviets women charged with anti-Soviet actions may signal a more relaxed interpretation of what.
You're watching News Center 5 at 6.
Skiing tragedies hitting
Beirut.
the city of Newton.
Ferris Ali Capita 10 said today that he ran away from the siege Palestinian refugee camp of Burj al-Bakana with 1,500 children because to survive inside they had to eat dogs, cats, and rats. British surgeon Pauline Cuddy, 35, who has been trapped at a Haifa hospital in the camp for 15 weeks, said by telephone that she and other doctors treating the sick among the camp's 30,000 inhabitants have been eating dogs to keep their strength to work, but many other people have been because they've been starving. Canada came to London, has been working at the camp in southern Beirut for 14 months. Complained that the plight of starving refugees blockaded the shantytowns without food and medical supplies has been ignored too long because of the news media obsessed with the foreign hostages in Lebanon. I think the severity of the situation is not really appreciated by the outside world. She said people are beginning to starve. And a Palestinian doctor fainted in the operating room recently because he was without food, she said. Said yesterday 2 babies died, born premature because the mothers had become too weak. We have seen many diseases from now on, she said. Burj al-Burhan said the small nearby Shrila camp had been under siege by forces of the shared Muslim
community that struggled with a
Minister ML since late October and cut off from the food supplies. By late last month, so the stock of foods have run out, and residents began eating domestic animals and grass. Jerusalem, sacred negotiations are on the way to swap Israeli prisoners of war as part of an exchange involving foreign Arab detainees and for first Israel hostage in Beirut, where Strindberg sources said yesterday. The sources indicated that the talks are being conducted abroad to ensure confidentiality and involve per victim. Any monitors rather than government to the Geneva based International Committee of the Red Cross. The reports here in the Beirut are negotiations have begun following an announcement early yesterday that the government cannot for Professor the Americans are in India with U.S. residents that there was postponing their execution. The kidnappers who call themselves Islamic Jihad for the liberation of Palestine had threatened to kill the hostages that 400 Arab prisoners were now released by midnight Monday.
disabled, challenged.
Israeli government officials have said that the kidnappers ultimately were within that the talks could be conducted without publicity by proper channels. Such as in the case involved 7 recorded passenger changes involved captured Israeli servicemen. Latin fair credence to the reports of the negotiations was reported by the ICRC in Beirut has received a list of 310 Lebanese and 90 Palestinian detainees from Islamic Jihad for the liberation of Palestine. Washington Post special correspondent Nora Bruttery reported that 310 Lebanese prisoners were Shiite Muslims.
Only biological son. Next is an edition. Attention New England.
Robert C. McFarland, the former National Security Advisor who attempted suicide this week, was struggling to come with grips with growing uncertainty about his career in the aftermath of Iran arms contract. 8 scandal according to friends and associates. They said McFarland was angered by the speculative congressional inquiries in which he would be called away many times as fine in a month. Added the details of the Iran arms sales policy, which had become the gravest crisis that President Reagan's terms had been tarnished McFarland's own long service in government with the military. McFarland, an academic figure who may be regarded as freely and strict, but would also assume great personal responsibility for policy failure, was hospitalized Monday after taking an overdose of Valium when what police discovered a suicide attempt. Since November, McFarland has been thrown into the limelight and has architected the ill-fated policy of selling weapons to Iran, and initially later tried to wane the stop. McFarland resigned as Reagan's National Security Advisor in December 1985 and told friends that months later that he regretted the decision, leaving the decision that was made against the backdrop of a tense friction between White House Chief of Staff Donald T. Reagan Congressional investigators now believe that a total of $10.5 million was skimmed from the Iran arms deals to support Nicaraguan rebels and for other purposes, but only slightly more than $2 million came from trans payments for the weapons. The remaining $8.5 million that was diverted was part of a $15 million loan.
I mean, today I have a Porsche. That's like a place to exist.
Meanwhile, Saudi tycoon Adam Khashoggi last May, the loan was intended to finance a secret arms shipment in Iran that was to include 2 U.S. Hawk anti-aircraft raiders shortly before. The radars were to be shipped after United States officials changed their minds about selling the radar to Iran, although the transit arms catch 240 Hawk missile spare parts was shipped because the radar deal was aborted. $8.5 million of money that had been advanced to cover the radars was available for other purposes, according to congressional sources. One of the most enduring mysteries of the Iran-Contra affair during the past 3 months, I mean, what happened to all the money and how millions of dollars were skimmed from the arms sales to Tehran. Attorney General Edwin Meese III revealed on November 25th that
Definitely am going to use it.
certain monies from the arms sales were improperly made available to the forces in Central America, where the president of Saudi needs the government there. Meese reported that the deferred money would be estimated about $10 million to $30 million that had come from the cash paid by Tehran from the missiles and spare parts Tehran bought from the United States in 1986 on the basis of a memo found in lies. The files of former National Security Council aide Lieutenant Oliver North. Meese indicated that the diverted money had been accumulated by inflating the price of the weapons sold to Iran. In fact, investigators now believe there are 3 deals in 1986 only. The final sale in October generated any profit away for the North. Memo has been described in the sale last October. The Iranians paid $4 million in advance to the 500 TOW and missiles, but Pentagon.
The goal, to make more of those partnerships.
Creativity.
Annapolis former Old Court Savings loan owner Jeffrey Levitt and his wife Carol are prepared to accept the settlement with a state that will require them to turn over the bulk of the remaining assets, according to the lawyer. Sources close to the negotiation said that the proposed arrangement would give their couple to give up their 3 houses, some of Carol Levitt's jewelry, and more than half of the $1.1 million in stock and securities and held by the Levitt family. The total valued assets that Levitt would be required to surrender at roughly $2 million, sources said. Carol Levitt and her sons would be kept between $300,000 and $500,000 in cash and securities and have been given up till 2 p.m. on Friday to be accepted the proposed settlement. I predict we'll have a deal, said their attorney William G. Hundley after visiting Jeffrey Levitt in jail late today. The settlement was hammered after a meeting Monday in the Baltimore office of Judge Joseph H. Kaplan, who presided over most of the litigation arriving from 1905 collapse of the Maryland saving loan industry.
Snow in Washington during tomorrow night.
The state civil suit
Around Atlanta, parts of South.
against the Levitts and 2 dozen other defendants filed 3 months after the May 1985 failure of the Old Court and have requests the fifth plunged the state into crisis and contends that Old Court officials committed the largest financial fraud in history of the state of Maryland. The suit sought to recover $200 million in damages.
Early, and especially early, and maybe late.
If the Levitts accept the settlement offer and accept that the state will continue an effort to recover. In the past week, the offenders have been caught both coming in and police accounts, court documents, and their news media, where a secret Washington-based group has been accused of child abuse and neglected along with sometimes nasty type of prank criticism similar to Chelsea. The offenders are portrayed as Alchemist academics immersed with a 20-year-old social experiment. Police, cult watch groups, and reporters have scrambled for information with only mixed success about the finders. 2 members of the group sit in Tallahassee, Florida jail cell and facing misdemeanor charges of negotiating 6 unkept children found traveling in the van. Yesterday, development in the case of the unusual commune exacerbated the confusion that the official statement that news accounts are endangered. Virginia State Police used a backhoe to dig up a 13-foot by 12-foot of land in the finder's own farm in rural Madison County. The police were responding to tips. They were found bodies buried there. Found of an investigation.
It's still a very complicated story.
It's become a routine, said police spokesman Charles
It begins around.
Vaughn, a child abuse expert hired by Florida Social Service Agency, examined by the 6 finders children and conducted that there would be insufficient evidence that say whether they've been sexually abused. And Nathan Grieber, an Illinois psychologist, said he found no evidence of recent physical harm. Tallahassee police dropped their description and the finders that are sent down but sued by a statement to them. Democrats paid the land for the 1980 convention, reflecting Chairman Kirk saying about winning the South as local officials blame politics for districts failed to win competition.
Basically a snow to rain case for a good shot.
Jonathan J. Pollard, an emotional letter from prison, says he's an absolute obligation to help Israel and believe his espionage with Israel's military capabilities aid. 12 youths were indicted on murder, charged in connection with a December 20th racial attack that resulted in the death of a black man in Howard Beach, New York. Eastern Airlines agrees to pay a $9.5 million fine for a safety violation larger than the Federal Aviation Administration against a commercial airline. Okay, now the weather now. Here now, Dave Sweeney. Okay, thank you very much. Renee in West right now. Congratulations at
Very little in terms of accumulation.
6 man Warts, 46 in National, 46 in Dallas, 46 in Lawton, 41 out in Andrews, 44 in Baltimore, 43 in
So here's the way.
Martin.
Your next set.
It's 40 in Chesapeake Bay, 39 in Wilmington, 38 in Dover, 41 in Salisbury,
Wind.
53 in Richmond, 49 in Newport News, 47 in Norfolk, 44 in Virginia Beach, 51 in Charlottesville, 50 in Lynchburg, 54 in Roanoke, 45 in Blacksburg, 47 out in
Weekend.
Beckley, West Virginia, 53 in
Obviously, they'll have updates.
Charleston, West Virginia, 54 out in Hampton, West Virginia, 45 out in
5 with Mike Down.
West Virginia, 41 out in Harrisburg, and 40 in Philadelphia, 39 Wildwood, and 37 in Atlantic City.
Big and Steinbrenner Big will be the
Okay, let's take a look at them
referring to is the introduction of their
around the country here.
$5 million pitcher.
Rain and snow showers extend over the Northern Rockies, and snow showers extend over the sector of the lower Great Lakes and rainfall fell over the Pacific Coast states, and rain showers extend over the central and central parts of Metro Nation had high temperatures in the 50s and 60s. Average temperatures were in the 30s and 40s of eastern Montana across the upper Mississippi Valley and the Great Lakes of New England and the middle of the state.
Calls Tanaka a solid number 3 starter.
High temperatures will be in the 70s over Metro Texas, Southern Arizona, and Central Florida, and highs will be in the 20s over northern New England and in the 40s over the Northern Rockies.
Sunday, Mike Lynch heads down to Florida. They reach the
Okay, let's take a look at our Washington forecast for tonight. It'll go like this.
Boston College last night won their 5th straight bean pie.
First guys tonight, low will be in the 20s
Did they make history?
to around 30 in DC. For Thursday, mostly clouds high about 40 to 53 degrees.
From laying down, tipping it in
Extended forecast for Friday for Sunday, partly Friday, chance of precipitation.
minutes later.
Saturday, mostly clouds, Sunday highs in the 40s for Maryland, highs in the 40s and 50s for Virginia, and lows for both states in the 20s and 30s.
His father's
Low Potomac, Chesapeake Bay, winds west around 10 knots, waves less than 1 foot tonight. New moon, February 28th, first moon, March 7th. Full moon, February 13th, and last moon, February 22nd. 22nd.
The most important thing is our freshman got their first one, so.
Mercury sets 7:08 p.m.
Tell me how you
Mars sets about 10:44 p.m. Jupiter 8:22 p.m. set. And Potomac River, the National Weather Service forecast for the Potomac River stage at Little Falls will be 4.5 feet today. River stage that have fallen slowly and levels below 5 feet are considered safe for recreational activities. And Washington Channel tides, high tide 6:30 p.m. in about 17 minutes.
smallest player on their team.
And that's me the weather. Now, Frank Kurzov will take away. Frank, okay, thank you very much, Dave.
This is a great leader for us. His defensive intensity, his speed in transition, and really his leadership.
Tonight, the Georgetown Warriors are at UConn tonight in Hartford taking on the Huskies, while the Washington Bullets are at San Antonio taking on the San Antonio Spurs.
The team in scoring, 3-point shooting percentage, assists, and heart and soul.
I wasn't blessed.
As the Washington Bullets start the second half of the regular season with a 24-22 record here.
Shots defensively, getting to the rim against a lot of bigger players, getting into the guts of the defense. For a guy his size, he's got that special innate ability that it's called the it factor.
In case you haven't noticed, Williams' height is not
As the Baltimore Orioles rated the Antonio Winners.
basketball player.
Longest running negotiations there were indications last night that free agent third baseman Ray Knight had decided to accept the offer of a 1-year, $475,000 contract. Knight rebated the disclosure that it is over to Albany, Georgia yesterday, although he made no public statement. He told at least 2 friends that he intends to accept the Orioles offer. However, Knight won't inform the Orioles of his decision still today. Late yesterday, several club officials would even guess as to what the decision might want to be. I just don't know, said Orioles general manager Hank Peters. I don't know what we're going to have the negotiations go on longer than this out, and it's hard to read that any. I can remember, I do know that if I decide to play, he'll be ready. He'll be a professional. That's one of the things we like about him. And Knight's agent knew of it is Clyde's decision. He wasn't revealed it. As far as I know, he made a decision, said George Kalfatis Wednesday that we're going to talk to give some serious thought to those options.
And somehow ended up
Knight is older, of course, but at various times and in the last 2 weeks, and telling some of that definitely would play in 1987 and then saying that he might retire. He also described the Orioles offer as good in some interviews, bad in others. 11 months have passed since one of the more controversial rule changes in college basketball history, but discussion surrounding the three-point shot still rages. Dean Smith likes it. John Thompson doesn't. Providence coach Will Pitino hates it so much because the team takes more than 400 three-point attempts so far this season. The coach of Stephen F. Austin State says his team has won 3 of its last 5 games as a direct result of the three-point shot. Louisville's most accurate three-point shooter has made only 30%. Previous minutes took as many as 3 pointers in 2 games in all, has St. John's taken all season. Fans can't run to the parking lot to beat the traffic jam because the home team is down 12 with 3 minutes play. Backyard shooters in every neighborhood have renewed dreams of me. playing major college basketball. Generally, the weak teams that are three-pointer, the traditional powers don't, and the big men don't know how to feel it. Ed Stites, the editor and interpreter of the NCAA Rules Committee, is under siege in Springfield, Massachusetts, the birthplace of basketball, and it won't be surprising if the line were moved back to the foot or so after the season. 1 month before the conference postseason,
Or smart choices.
during the beginning, there is no conscience about the college basketball three-point shot over 3 is and over. This is in the iron guard. Steve Alvin doesn't have to worry about past defenders since he is third in nation in making three-point shots, hitting 55.9%.
In all praise to today.
Quebec City, although technically they are exhibition games that beat Wednesday and Friday between the National Hockey League All-Stars and the Soviet national team, offers rich and rewards and prestige and self-satisfaction. My whole life has been aimed at being involved in things like this, said Edmonton Center Mark Messier. You're thinking we have to beat
In America, well equipped for only 20.
these guys? That we're going to say we're the best in the world. It'll always be the same when we meet the Russians always. There's a difference from the All-Star game, said the Oilers' Ray and Westry. We have to concentrate on hockey and we have only 190 to win. I hope everybody else has a good time. We prepare for the games. And the NHL took a beating in the prestige department when it was defeated by the Soviets 2-1 in the 79 Challengers Cup. That was the last meeting of this kind of NHL players. Brown generally faced the Soviets in the Canadian Cup and World Championship. Wednesday's game will be at 7:30 p.m. on ESPN.
We bought our MDX because we needed some.
Quebec City, Edmonton Center Wayne Gretzky is captain of an NHL All-Star in Rendezvous A7 with Capital defenseman Rand Langway serving as assistant captain. The appointment was a pleasant surprise. Langway, who did not expect to be chosen for the team at all. When the first list came out, I wasn't on that, and there was no reason I should have been on it. Just look at the record this year. I'm not very proud of it, either me or the team. I've always been a consistent player, but this season I've been consistent. I'll play good for a month, and then going into 2 weeks, I went fat before Montreal, but you could play bad. The team would win, still win. Now I play bad, lose. Despite his, that's about his.
I never look better. I'm telling you.
That's the selection. Langway's got to be here. He was considered Rendezvous A7 as a major event and planned to attend the game even if he hadn't been playing. It means a lot. Langway said.
This community, not just
There's a pride in representing the top of your profession against the best club from Russia with millions of people watching. We're going to be ready for sure. Langway will wear number 4. Former capital Brick Green of Montreal with more seniority retained number 5. Each member of the NHL All-Star game is being paid $1 a game plus expenses for him and a guest. The Soviet Hockey Federation is receiving $40,000 a game plus expenses while being here and a portion of the travel costs. Jan Eagleson, executive director of the NHL Players Association, revealed these figures and said that the 2 games were expected to gross $2 million with about $500,000 going into the players' pension plan. Montreal's Jen Brown, the head coach of the NHL All-Stars, will be assisted behind the bench Wednesday by arch rival Michel Bergeron of Quebec, with Bob Johnson Calgary spotted in front of the press box. Bergeron and Johnson will reserve roles for the Friday's game. Did you ever wonder about the menu at the $350 plate dinner? The course at late dinner gastronomy Monday night included smoked trout, pressed pheasant, favorite consume shrimp, and scallops. Apple sherbet, filet of bison, cheese and ice cream treat called Shallot Symphony. There were 8 varieties. Woo, that's expensive dinner.
And I know
2-time All-Met running back Tyrone Jackson is the man for high school. Announced yesterday he has signed a letter to attend North Carolina State. Jackson, 5'10" senior, was the Washington Post Player of the Year last football season. He amassed 2,094 yards and scored 43 touchdowns the past 2 seasons, and leading the stock to a combined 18-2 record. He was one of several area players prepared to sign a national letter of 10 today's official signing day. Other All-Met players who said they would sign today were DeMatha tackle Jake Bossa of Virginia Tech and linebacker Andrew Jones of Notre Dame, T.C. Williams, defensive lineman Matt Senior of Alabama, Matt Vernon, offensive lineman Ed Cunningham of Washington, and defensive lineman Matt Jefferson, Virginia Tech, Curl, defensive back Damon Green of Villanova, Gaithersburg quarterback Eric Nichols of Central State, and Chenta quarterback Trey Warren of Richmond. Among all honorable mentions, Robinson, linebacker Proctor Len was signed with Oklahoma and Gaithersburg. Defensive tackle Doug Joyce with Delaware. Other signings included Carroll linebacker Rico Rowell of Northeastern, DeMatha defensive lineman Mike Wood of Arizona State, nose guard Malcolm Woolley, Boston University, defensive back Jay Harold Navy, and tailback John Jeffries of Virginia Tech, Mount Vernon defensive back Adam Beck of Iowa State, and offensive lineman Eric Keeney, West Point Prep School, W.T. Woodson running back Mark Okay, and Mark Snyder with Delaware. And Hamilton, George Hamilton's news story will help her go and roll, and that is gonna be it for the News 7 at 6 on this February 11th, 1987 on a Wednesday. I'm Peter. I'm West Sergeant alongside Renee Poussot and Frank Herzog and Dave Sweetie. You have a good evening. Coming next on TV7 will be the ABC World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. We'll see you at 11. Have a good evening.